I'm back. All right, so for this third video, what I wanted to do, you can see I did a little work, okay? And I kind of completed the assignment. This is what's basically due. I wanted to give you an example of what's due for part one, okay? So in the first video, we talked about sort of the basic setup, and we talked about sort of the title, right? And we talked about, adding your name. In the second video, I talked about coming up with some sort of design. This is actually not a great design, right? I mean, whatever. It shows what I want to in terms of contrast of colors and things like that. But, I wouldn't exactly call this pretty. But then we talked about the elements, right? So there's 9 elements. There's the title, and then there's 8 other elements that must be present. What I want to do is highlight, okay, so let me zoom in here for a sec so you can actually see what I did. So I told you for the demand, I want you to pick one of the 5 determinants of demands, things that'll shift demand, and just use it and talk about it, right? And in this case, I talked about the slight decrease in demand, and I had my source. So I linked my source here and was able to talk about the trend, okay? And then I did the same thing in supply. With supply, it's pretty stable, right? If I go and I look at my source, you can see that in terms of the supply, those bottom boxes don't change much over a 10-year period, and really it's about 1.8% growth, so it's pretty stable. All right, so the first box, demand, is decreasing. The second box, supply, is stable. And for your third box, for equilibrium, I want you must have a graph, okay? Now you can build the graph yourself individually if you want to do that. If you don't know how to do that, I just went out and I literally searched decrease in demand graph. And then I found one that was pretty generic. So again, if you kind of look at it, right, it just shows a decrease in demand with supply remaining stable, which is the scenario I have, and it results in a decrease in both the equilibrium price and quantity. So I want you to sort of, figure out what the scenario is and find a graph and put that in there. Once again, there's a source where I got the graph, and you can see I added these arrows to kind of walk you through. The fourth and final thing that's due are taxes, and we haven't really talked about it in class. We will in the next couple of weeks, but taxes and subsidies. And again, just pick some component, right? Some of your things are going to be subsidized by the government. Some of your topics will not be taxed because they're food items or something like that. In this case, what I talked about is that you might think of cupcakes as a food item, or a grocery, and in some states they are considered a grocery and they are not taxed. In Texas, though, they're not considered a grocery and they are taxed. So you do pay taxes on food. Okay, that's what's due. So this is what's due. For part one. Now you can also see, I made a quick comment that what I would do, technique only, is I would include the other 4 things that are going to be due for part 2 and maybe label them, but just leave them blank because they're not due. We haven't talked about it in class yet, and it's not due. So, don't worry about it right now, but at least you have it set up and you have it all, the space all there. Now, the other thing is if you wanted to, you could, add some excitement, right? So if I go out and I find, this picture, copy image of a cupcake, what I can do, this is sort of technique only, but it's easier to kind of do this someplace else. I can, just add some pictures. Again, I can't stress enough, you hit that little text wrapping icon, and this allows you to kind of, so, you can add more pictures. You can, I encourage you to be as creative as possible, right? But that is what's due, and I hope that's pretty clear in terms of what my expectations are for part 1, okay? So if it's not clear or you have questions, you have my email address, go ahead and email me. And I'm telling you right now, do not send me, I do not want 140 infographics with blue and orange boxes on them. Okay, figure something else out and kind of make it your own. Okay, all right, that's it.